So I don't exactly know where I want to start, but I guess I'll say promises are lies until they come true. So I'm getting ready to get my plumbing license. I've been studying code for a while. I got plumbing international code, the gas code, fucking all kinds of shit. And so my boss was having a conversation with me. He was like, hey, you ever think about, well, the way that it came about was he was like, hey, you know, what do you see yourself doing with plumbing? And I was like, well, that's how I pay my bills, bud. So I guess I'm gonna be stuck doing this. I didn't say it like that, but you know, plumbing pays very well if you're a good plumber. I would rather invest my money than throw it into, I don't have a wife and any kids, so I don't need a house, right? I did not know when I moved into Desert Star that 2 people on average get killed here every month. I didn't know that, but it doesn't matter. Nobody fucks with us. Me. Nobody fucks with me. So over the course of 3 years that I've lived here, you know, you got to put that into perspective because it doesn't really resonate with people until you put it into perspective. So if I've lived here for 3 years, 2 people get killed here a month on average. So let's see here, that is 36 months. So 36 people have died in this apartment complex. I don't really give a shit about social status. I mean, I want to have nice things, you know what I mean? Like my Cadillac, for example. You know, I see enough self-worth in me, that I feel like I deserve those things. So, but it's not out of control, you know? I'm not going out buying Corvettes and fucking Harleys and doing whatever I want to, right? I'd rather put it into the stock market so 15 years on down the line, I can go retire, which I'm gonna retire way before 15 years, but when 15 years comes along and I've got a couple $1 million, I'll be set. You know what I mean? So I'd much rather throw my money into the stock market than I would pay $3,000 a month to rent a 3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom house here in Phoenix, which you can expect to pay anywhere between $3,000 and $12,000 a month if you want to rent a house in Phoenix. I could afford probably $3-4 a month, but I would be miserable. I would be just like the rest of these fucking homeowners that don't have a dollar to their fucking name and they're having to budget out sandwiches for the rest of the week. I don't want that for myself. I want to be able to just go out and do whatever the fuck I want to do and not have to think about it, because that's the way life should be. I shouldn't have to worry about groceries and shit. So this conversation that we're having, right? Remember, promises are lies until they come true, and they might never come true. So he's like, you know, we're looking for we're looking for a guy to take my spot because I'm getting promoted to district manager. And what do you think about profit sharing? I'm like, well, that's cool, man. It just, depends on what the rules are. And he's like, well, the thing that we're thinking about setting up is, you work here for 5 years and you get a fraction of what the company's worth. And he's like, so, you work here for 5 years and the company's worth $60 million. You get a fraction of that, right? And I think the reaction that he was expecting was for my eyes to light up and be all mesmerized with the offer. And that's not the reaction he got. So I never really got offered, technically. We were all hypothetically speaking at this point. So I said, look, you got to be careful out there. And I'm telling him this because somebody's going to come along and they're going to promise you something, right? And they're going to expect you to be just die hard all about the company, ready to go anytime. Fucking everybody's shortcomings you got to go make up for. You've got all this responsibility on your shoulders, da 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 da. So the problem is that somebody's gonna get very greedy up at the top. And when you've worked there, they've got this stipulation, right? 5 years. You gotta be there 5 years. Well, 4.5 years will roll around. And one day you're gonna walk into work and they're gonna fire you because your shoelaces aren't tied, right? So what they're looking for is to take advantage of somebody for 5 years and dangle a block of cheese in front of them. And I'm not dumb enough to fall into that position. I'm not. If somebody's willing to teach me how to manage a plumbing company, that's experience that, yeah, sure, I'd love to know. But you're not gonna fool me into believing that all I have to do is work for 5 years and I'm gonna have $10 million or something. I'm not that stupid. When people get very greedy, they do. And you can never trust other people. You just can't. So that's my loyalty to a company historically has not been that great. I mean, basically, if what I'm having a hard time finding in this world is if a company pays very well, they treat you like shit. If a company treats you very well, they pay like shit. There's never a happy medium. There's never a happy middle there. The management that we have where I work has no pair of balls at all. They don't. They're selling things for astronomically way too cheap. The way I put it is like, if a surgeon is charging $150,000 to put a stent in, he's charging that because he needs to be able to live, and this is what it's going to take for him to afford his lifestyle that he's developed. And rightfully so, he deserves it. But when it comes to plumbing, people think that, oh, we're just fucking worthless. We're just a bunch of handymen. We don't know what we're doing. We're just basic fucking pieces of shit. We shouldn't be making any. If it was up to society, plumbers wouldn't make anything more than $15 an hour. And if that were the case, nobody would do the fucking job. You'd have a bunch of 18-year-old kids trying to replace your fucking tankless water heater and catching your house on fire. and that would be the end of the business. So, you know, there's no motivation. So the other thing that they have an issue with is something that I don't tolerate at all, and that is excuses. When I've worked for people who were former Marine Corps officers, and when you work for those types of people, you learn they are not the type of person to give an excuse to, ever. You never do that. If you show them anything, show them that you're trying, right? You never say, oh, I can't do this because of blah, blah, blah. You never say that with those guys. There is no excuse. I learned that at a younger age, so that's always kind of stuck with me, right? And I've learned that you are responsible for everybody else's fuck-ups. Whether you think you are or not, you have to take responsibility. Your world, everything that's happening to you is your fault. You'll notice, you know, we've all met somebody who has either been domestically abused or domestically abused. We've all ran across somebody at one point in time in our lives that has done that. And you'll notice a common denominator with every single one of them. It's always somebody else's fault. So, same thing with homeless people. They can't get a job because blah, 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 blah. It's always somebody else's fault, right? They can't be a productive member of society because blah, 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 blah. It's always somebody else's fault. I don't do that. I accept responsibility for everything. The reason why I'm in the position that I'm in, and I'm in a good position, but the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in is because of me. It's all on my shoulders. I accept 100% responsibility for this. So if I'm on a job and I ask my apprentice to do something and he does it and he fucks something up, that is my fault. That's just how it is. I would never ask an apprentice to do something that I myself would not do. One aspect that I absolutely love about the position that I'm in is teaching people. When I go into customers' houses, if they're curious, if they show curiosity, I will teach them everything. I'll teach them everything about my trade and everything about what's going on and why their shower cartridge needs to be replaced or why their faucet's leaking out of the handles when they turn it on. And I'll take them through the whole nine. I'll tell them everything. I love doing that. It's nice. It's nice to see other people happy and see them succeed. And that is an addiction of mine. That's what I want. I want to see people succeed. My supervisor they have no balls there. We're going to get back to that. So what I'm talking about is there are people who, when they say, hey, we need you to be on call this weekend, it's a very, very simple sentence to say, but what they're actually asking you is, hey, I need you to work 14 days in a row. That's what they're asking when they ask you to work on call on the weekends. So a lot of pieces of shit will come up with excuses, right? Now, I have two supervisors, and I'm not saying they're both pushovers, because one of them is not. He's just way more tolerant than he should be. But the other one is a total pushover. So they use the excuse. My buddy Nick, he used to manage 8 detail shops, right? And these employees would come up with excuses as to why they couldn't come into work that day. And sometimes they would say things like, hey, I can't come into work because I've got to pay my bills today. So you're telling me that you can't come into work and make money because you have bills you have to go pay. How the fuck does that make any sense? Well, it's basically on the line of what these plumbers are telling management here is that I can't work on call this weekend because I have kids. So what you're telling me is that you can't do your job because you have kids. So therefore, I guess you don't need a paycheck to take care of your kids. That's the way I look at it. So I'm not supposed to be on call for 7 more weeks after this weekend, on the weekend. I know before it even happens, I already know that they're going to ask me to be on call. Before that 7-day period is up. That's a nice way to catch that. So here's what I'm gonna propose. I'm gonna say, hey, look, you want me to work 14 days in a row, right? That's what you're asking me to do, right? Yep, that's what we're asking you to do, Zach. And I'm gonna say, all right, well, I have one condition if you want me to do that. And they're gonna be like, what's that? I'm gonna say, whoever it was that fed you a bunch of shit as to why they can't do their on-call, you're gonna fire them. No excuses. And that's the way it should be ran, because it's not fair to everybody else. The problem is every single one of the technicians that work there, almost every single one, they all have kids. And they're so used to using that excuse that they think it's okay now. Well, everybody else gets fucked, you know. You reach a certain point in time. You know, when you're young, it's like money, 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 money. You want to go out and get as much money as you can. But as you grow older, you realize you don't have a whole lot of time. And you start to value your solitude. You start to value your free time more than you do money. I'm having a difficult time scissoring with this, as you can tell. There she goes. Almost. So, I'm gonna just tell them, hey, you're gonna fire that guy, whoever it was. And the next guy, hey, I can't do it because I have kids. Fire him. And the next guy, hey, I can't do it because blah, blah. Fire him. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fire every single one of these pieces of shit, get them the fuck out of here, and hire people that don't give us excuses. Because when I worked for previous employers, I wasn't allowed to give people excuses. It was do or die. And that's the way my life has been for the last 10 years of my life. There are no excuses. So, previously, you know, you never quit plumbing. It's not plumbing that you quit. It's management that you quit. And when management is promising you a bunch of things and it never comes true, I give people time limits on their promises. I'm not going to waste my life listening to, well, we're working on it. We're going to try to fix this, and oh, we're trying to do all it. No. There is no trying. You either do it or you don't. I'm not gonna waste my fucking time. But when it comes to the proposal that they offered me, I'm not gonna waste my time because I know exactly what's gonna happen. Oh, they're gonna let me go 4.5 years later, and oh man, you almost had it. Shoot. No, I've only got one life. I've only got one. And I'm not gonna waste years and years and years of my life for something I'll never have. So I automatically assume I'm never gonna have it, right? But if they're willing to teach me things to better myself, then I haven't really lost anything other than a little bit of my time. So the answer is yes, I'm gonna take it, but I'm not gonna fall for the lies. Fuck. The other thing is, so my last employer, a scenario had happened, and I sent him a text message about it, and he never cared to hear my point of view. So there were a lot of promises, and I just decided that I didn't want to work for a guy like that anymore. So, if he wasn't willing to see my side of the story, and I wasn't giving him excuses, I was telling him what happened. And it wasn't anything bad, it was just miscommunication. But the fortunate thing about being a plumber is I don't have to give a fuck. In a 15-minute phone call, I will have a job somewhere else, making really good money anywhere I fucking go. What's great about Arizona is there are 3,000 plumbing companies in the state of Arizona. So, registered plumbing companies, that is. So anyway, I feel like I don't have to put up with anybody's shit. Because I don't. I'm gonna try scissoring one more time, and then I'm gonna show you Kiko. So Kiko is a very special bird. Here's Tico. See if we can zoom in on him. No, we can't. Anyway, there's Tico. Tico is, I've got an appointment with an aviary vet on, not this Saturday, that got fucked up because they asked me to be on call, but next Saturday. Tico is 100% a domesticated bird that was let go. And how I know this is because I've had birds in my past. When I was dating Asia Chambers, we decided that we were going to get a bird. So we got one. We got a, I think it was called a lovebird. Yeah, it was a lovebird. And so anyway, she'd had birds before, and her mom had birds, and she grew up with birds and all this shit. So like when a bird's biting you, you just grab its beak and say, no bite, no bite, no bite. And after a while of doing that, it won't bite anymore. The other thing is when you take your index finger and you rub their chest, you say, step up, they'll step up on your finger like a perch. Second thing, if you put them up to your shoulder and they crawl up on your shoulder, yes, they have been around humans before. Obviously. That is something that has to be taught. That's not something that they learn in the wild. So, we all know who Adam and Eve is. I had just got done cursing Eve for the day of my birth. And Tico came along. I really feel like that was something special. And he flew behind me and just kind of hung out, was chilling out. And then he jumped up on the ledge. Me and my buddy were sitting outside talking, outside of his house on his driveway. And it immediately became apparent that he was domesticated. He jumped up in my buddy's lap, jumped up on his, you do that little thing with your finger and rub his chest, and he jumps up on your finger. And he passed him off to me, and I put him on my shoulder. And I don't know if it's a him or a girl. That's part of what I'm gonna go find out. Aviary vets are very proprietary, right? So aviary vets, you can't just take a bird to a regular vet. Veterinarians do cats and dogs. That's or maybe horses every now and again. Aviary vets are very special. They're very proprietary. Up in Ohio, there was I think there was one in the state of Ohio, and they were in Cincinnati. There are two in the state of Arizona, and there's one in Phoenix and one in Mesa, and that's it for the rest of the state. So I have an appointment with that aviary vet on Saturday for trying to figure out the gender, but I figured, so I named him or her Tico, because if it's a girl, Tico works perfect. If it's a guy, Tico works perfect. You know, I didn't name him fucking Zorro or something cool, because I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but I like the name Tico. It just fits. It just fits. But he is absolutely domesticated. He's very quiet. He doesn't chirp a lot. He just sits in his cage and fucking does little bird things, you know, flying around on his little. I got him a swing and a ladder and a couple of perches. But yeah. So so he sits on the swing. That's the thing. I put a swing in there, right? Now, when the bird lands on the swing will move back and forth. If a bird has been domesticated and had a swing before, they know how to land on a swing and stay on the swing. If you get a bird from nature that lands on the swing, they're gonna fly right off of it because it instantly moves as soon as they jump on it. Well, Tico jumped right on the thing. Had no issues at all. Just swinging back and forth, having a great time watching TV with me and shit, you know? It's fucking cool as shit. But, I needed Tico. Tico's a good bird. So anyway, once I find out more information, I might make a video. There's super easy to take care of. You know, $100 worth of bird feed will last a bird a year. The cage that I got, I'm gonna go over that. The reasons why I selected that cage. I'm gonna get him a larger cage, but this is large enough for him to keep him from being stressed out because he has space to fly around. But this one has a plastic tray at the bottom that you can pull out without disassembling the cage. So you can leave him in the cage the whole time you pull the tray out, vacuum up all the seeds that he spilled, and, you know, spray down anything that fell. And so birds are very, very easy to take care of. But once I do the wellness check with the aviary vet, which is only $90, by the way. Can you think of any time you've ever gone to a doctor's office or any veterinarian's office and only paid $90 fucking dollars? That never happens. I don't expect my aviary vet to be cheap, because there's not a whole lot of them on this planet. But as long as I get a clean bill of health, that I gotta establish that first. I know he doesn't have fucking rabies or anything. I mean, he's super polite. But this bird cage, the top of it will open, and you can put a perch in between the canopy that opens, and he can have an open cage, and he can fly around. And I'm going to teach him all kinds of things, like how to pick up coins and how to pick up money and take them to a certain spot, and then I'll give him a treat. And then, you know, he'll just like fly around collecting pennies and nickels and quarters and shit. It's gonna be cool as shit. I've always loved birds. Birds are a very special animal to me. I think they're cool as fuck. Always said, like, I don't believe in reincarnation, but if I was to be reincarnated, I'd love to be like a bald eagle or something, or a falcon, and just, you know, 200 miles an hour swoop down. And just think birds are fucking cool. They're fucking cool. So anyway, I might make some videos about Tico. And we've got some detailing. We've got a lot of cars lined up that have different needs. And when we're doing those, it's gonna be Nick and myself. You have, between the two of us, probably about 20 years worth of experience in the detail industry. Very knowledgeable guy. And he's gonna take us through paint correction, scratch removal. He's going to take us through his process. I have little commentaries that I'm going to make throughout the video, things that I've learned when I was a manager of a detail shop. I was manager of Air Park Dodge in Arizona, and ran it very successfully. You know, I was one of the only managers that took the time to teach service washers how to detail. And because I took my time teaching them, it made my life easier, because when we had sold cars come back, I could take a service wash guy and throw him on a sold, so that I could focus on details with another one of the detailers, or 2 or 3 of the detailers, depending on how many people were working that day. But it really pays off when you know, it's easy to hate somebody because they don't show up on time. And I don't put up with that. I mean, you know, if they're telling me every single day that they're 45 minutes late because of traffic, I'm just gonna fire them. You know, I'm not gonna put up with that shit at all. But if they're like, hey, you know, a car accident happened, I'm sorry, I'm 10 minutes late, I don't give a fuck. But, you know, it's easy to not want to help. It is. It's a very fast-paced business, working in the detail shop in a dealership. It's a very fast-paced thing. I mean, sometimes you have to do 16 cars in a day, full details. I know how to do that. My buddy knows how to do that. We've all been taught speed, every single one of us. And that's how I trained my employees, with speed. So we've developed a lot of techniques that we can take a car that is completely fucked, and in an hour and a half make this thing look like gold. We have techniques to do that. You'll notice that there's guys on YouTube like Detail Geek, for example. This guy, he'll spend 18 hours on a car. We never had 18 hours on a fucking car. No way, shape, or form did we ever had that. And we had to remove tint, For those of you who have ever removed tint, there's a fucking sticky ass film that you got to scrape off with razor blades, and sometimes the fucking window's concave and you can't get that razor blade in there, so now you got to get creative. We have methods for these things. And this is all valuable information that we want to teach people. So we have a lot of cars lined up. I think we've got like 6 or 7 cars lined up. And we're thinking, you know, maybe once a weekend we'll make a little video, and each car will have different needs that need to be addressed. So we're going to try to address those. I'm having a hard time getting this thing to, it's very light. I'm used to the Alpha Beast, which is titanium. That's aluminum. Titanium's a little heavier of a metal. And it just very methodically moves a lot. So I know I just fucked up. Shut up. But it just moves a little slower. See, like that, so that you can see a little better. With that, it's muscle memory. And I don't have muscle memory with an aluminum knife. I have muscle memory with a titanium knife. Titanium handles, anyway. So, anyway. Close but no cigar. So yeah, so that's upcoming stuff. I gotta keep making videos because YouTube will not promote my shit if I stop. So like, you might see some lock picking videos pop up. You might see like some knife sharpening videos pop up. Just shit that, you know, if you're not interested, you don't have to watch. I don't really care. But I have to put something up. Or they're not gonna, I'll get no views and no subscribers and I'll be fucked. So I have to put fucking something up. And it, you know, whatever it is, I'm gonna make it interesting. I'm gonna try to. So anyway, I tell a story about my fucking shitty ass life that I live or whatever. My life isn't shitty. My life is pretty fucking good. It's not very many Americans are in my position right now, I'll say that. So anyway, I hate all of you. I hate all of you. And have a good night. All right, guys. Peace.